Imagine catching your sister with the man you're about to marry. Now imagine your family turning against you. On Christmas night, they ambushed me, laughed, defended them, called me selfish. That's when I realized the truth. And what I did next shocked everyone. I always thought betrayal was something that happened to other people. You hear about stories on the internet. You watch movies about families tearing each other apart, but you never think it could be you. You never think the people you trust most could be the ones sharpening the knife behind your back. For me, it all started with what should have been the happiest time of my life. I had just gotten engaged to Mark, the man I believed was my soulmate. We'd been together for 3 years. He was charming, attentive, and he made me feel safe. And my sister Emily, she was my best friend. We grew up inseparable. She was 2 years younger than me, and I always looked out for her. If you asked me to list the people I trusted most in the world, it would have been Mark and Emily without hesitation. But trust is fragile, and once it shatters, you realize how blind you really were. At first, it was little things. Mark would text late at night and quickly put his phone face down when I walked into the room. Emily, who used to be open and bubbly with me, started acting strange. She'd go quiet when Mark's name came up, or she'd change the subject too fast. I told myself I was imagining it. I was planning a wedding, stressed about money, about guest lists. I thought my brain was just playing tricks on me. But then one night, about a month after the engagement, I got home earlier than expected. Mark had told me he had to stay late at work, and Emily had said she was going out with friends. I remember thinking I'd use the quiet night to catch up on sleep. But when I walked into my apartment, the living room lights were on. I froze. My heels clicked against the hardwood floor, echoing too loudly in the silence. And then I heard muffled laughter coming from my bedroom. I don't even remember how I got down the hallway. It felt like my body moved without me. My hand pushed the door open, my heart hammering so violently I thought it might burst. And then I saw them. Mark, in my bed, with my sister. The world tilted sideways. My fiancé and my sister looked up at me like deer in headlights, sheets tangled, clothes scattered on the floor, their faces pale with shock. "Wait, is not what it looks like," Emily stammered, scrambling to cover herself. Mark sat up, his voice breaking. "I can explain." "Explain? Explain what?" My legs went numb, but somehow my voice came out sharp, broken. "You're in my bed, with my sister. What could you possibly explain?" I don't remember the details of what I screamed. I just remember my throat burning, my vision blurring with tears, and the taste of metal in my mouth from biting down so hard on my tongue just to stay standing. Mark tried to grab my arm, begging me to listen. Emily cried, reaching out for me, saying it was a mistake, that it just happened. But in that moment, I realized something bone deep. Betrayal doesn't just happen. It's chosen. And they chose it. Together. I kicked them both out. Mark tried to plead with me, saying it was a moment of weakness. Emily sobbed, swearing it was the first time that she was so sorry. I didn't believe a word. I locked the door behind them, slid down to the floor, and screamed until my voice gave out. My engagement was over. My sister was dead to me. Or at least that's what I thought. Because betrayal is one thing. But what came next? That was war. When the news broke in my family, I thought they would rally around me. I thought my parents would cut Emily off for what she did. But instead, they minimized it. "Sweetheart, she's your sister," my mom said, her tone scolding instead of comforting. "People make mistakes." "A mistake?" I snapped. "She slept with my fiancé." My dad wouldn't even look at me. "It's not like they killed someone. You can forgive this." Forgive. Forgive. I couldn't believe it. My own family, the people who raised me, who taught me about loyalty and trust, were bending over backward to excuse Emily. "She's young," my mom said, as if that made okay. "Mark is handsome, and temptation is hard to resist." I stared at her, speechless. Are you seriously blaming him being attractive for what she did? But it didn't matter. No matter what I said, no matter how betrayed I felt, they kept defending her. It was like I was the villain for not moving on. Like my anger, my heartbreak, was an inconvenience to them. And then Christmas came. I hadn't planned to go to the family Christmas gathering. I didn't want to see Emily. I didn't want to see Mark, who, by the way, was still texting me, begging for another chance, saying he and Emily weren't serious. But my parents begged me to come. Please, they said, don't ruin Christmas. We're a family. We need to be together. Against my better judgment, I went. I thought maybe it would just be awkward. Maybe I could get through a few hours, exchange gifts, then leave. I should have trusted my gut. The moment I walked in, I knew something was wrong. Everyone was too quiet, too expectant. And then, like a nightmare unfolding in slow motion, Emily walked in, holding hands with Mark. My breath caught in my chest. What? What is this? My mom smiled nervously. Sweetheart, we didn't want to blindside you, but what? I snapped. My heart was pounding so hard it drowned out the Christmas music. Emily squeezed Mark's hand, her eyes wet but defiant. We're together now. We didn't mean for it to happen this way, but we're in love. The room spun. My ears rang. My own sister, my fiancé, standing in front of me like their betrayal was some kind of fairy tale romance. And then the worst part, my family smiled. My dad clapped Mark on the back. My mom hugged Emily. My aunts and uncles murmured blessings like this was some happy announcement instead of the destruction of my entire world. I couldn't breathe. You knew? I whispered. My voice cracked like glass. You all knew? And you planned this? You brought me here just to watch this circus? Don't be dramatic, my mom said sharply. We just thought it would be better to tell you together, to show you that you need to accept it. Like I should just stand there, watch my sister play house with a man who was supposed to be my husband, and smile for the family photo. But I didn't. I exploded. You're all disgusting, I screamed. You expect me to sit here and celebrate this? My sister betrays me. My fiancé betrays me. And you all, what? You forgive them? You bless them? The room went silent. My mom's face hardened. My dad muttered something about me ruining Christmas. That's what they thought. Not that Emily destroyed her sister. Not that Mark shattered our future. No, I was the problem. And in that moment, I realized something colder than any winter storm outside. I wasn't part of this family anymore, and I didn't go home for months after the betrayal. I couldn't. Every time I thought of my sister and my ex-fiancé together, it felt like my chest was being ripped open. My phone buzzed every day with calls and messages from my parents, my cousins, even family friends. I ignored them all. To them, forgiveness was easy. To me, it was impossible. But then December rolled around. My mom sent me a long message about Christmas Eve. Please come home. It's Christmas. We're a family, and families forgive. You can't stay angry forever. We've moved on. You need to as well. That last sentence cut me to the bone. We've moved on. As if the entire family had collectively decided my pain was inconvenient, so they'd buried it and expected me to do the same. I almost said no. I should have said no, but part of me craved at least one night where things felt normal again. I missed the twinkle lights, the laughter, the smell of my dad's mulled cider. I told myself I could handle a few hours, keep my distance from my sister and my ex, and leave before midnight. So against my better judgment, I said yes. Christmas Eve came. I put on a brave face, slipped into my coat, and drove to my parents' house. From the outside, everything looked the same. Warm lights glowed from the windows. Snow dusted the roof, and the sound of Christmas music spilled out when I opened the door. Inside, the house was crowded with relatives. My aunts, uncles, cousins, all smiling too hard, hugging me like nothing had happened. I felt stiff, like a guest in my own family. My sister and my ex-fiancé, sitting side by side on the couch. She had her hand on his knee. He was whispering something into her ear, and she laughed like a little girl. My stomach twisted. I froze in the doorway, my eyes burning. I wanted to turn and leave, but my mom swooped in, grabbed my arm, and pulled me further inside. "Don't be dramatic," she whispered harshly. "It's Christmas. Be polite. Be polite." To the man who cheated on me with my sister. To the sister who smiled at me now with no trace of guilt. I swallowed my rage and forced myself to stay. Dinner was torture. The table was long, candles flickering, turkey steaming in the center. My father gave a toast about family unity and forgiveness, and everyone clapped while I clenched my fists under the table. Every so often, my sister would look at me with this smug little smile as if she had won something. And my ex, no, her fiancé, now kept his arm draped casually around her chair, like he belonged here more than I did. The conversations around me blurred together, but every now and then I caught pieces that made my blood run cold. "So when's the wedding? Have you set a date yet?" "Oh, you two are just perfect together." I nearly choked on my wine. They were planning a wedding, with my family's blessing. I excused myself, stormed upstairs, and locked myself in my old bedroom. My chest heaved as I stared at the faded posters on the wall. I felt like I was losing my mind. How could they do this to me? How could my own blood side with them? I should have left right then, but I didn't. Around 10 p.m., there was a knock at my door. I didn't answer. A minute later, it opened anyway. My mom, dad, sister, and ex-fiancé walked in together. I stood, my pulse racing. "What is this?" My dad sighed. "Honey, we wanted to talk, as a family." My sister crossed her arms, tilting her head like she pitied me. "You can't keep living in the past. We're engaged now. You need to accept it." My ex-fiancé had the nerve to nod. "We didn't plan this. It just happened. But I love her, and your family loves me. We all just want peace." Peace. The word echoed like a gunshot in my brain. My mom stepped forward, her voice soft, manipulative. "Sweetheart, don't ruin Christmas. We forgive them. You should too. Life is too short for grudges." I laughed a bitter, broken laugh that startled them. "Forgive them? You want me to bless their relationship? After what they did to me?" My sister's face hardened. "You're being selfish. You think you're the only one who matters? Grow up." That's when I realized this wasn't just a conversation. It was an ambush. They had cornered me, surrounded me, and decided tonight was the night they would break me down. But they didn't expect what came next. I snapped. All the months of bottled-up pain exploded. I screamed at my sister, at my ex, at my parents. I reminded them how he proposed to me, how I had chosen my sister as maid of honor, how they had destroyed me. The room shook with my fury. My father told me to lower my voice. My mother called me hysterical. My ex reached out as if to calm me, and I shoved him back. Then I dropped the bomb. "I'm not the one who needs forgiveness here. You are. And you're going to regret underestimating me." Their faces paled. For the first time, I saw fear flicker in my sister's eyes. I stormed past them, grabbed my bag, and walked out the front door into the freezing night. Snow crunched under my boots as I ran to my car. My hands shook as I turned the key, tears blurring my vision. But beneath the tears was fire. They thought they could erase my pain. They thought they could rewrite history and crown my betrayers as the heroes of this family. But they were wrong. Because Christmas night was not the end. It was only the beginning. That night, as I drove through the snow, I made a promise to myself. I would never let them trap me again. I would take back control. And I would make them see exactly what happens when you push someone too far. The war had only just begun.